Hello and herzlich willkommen zum Auf die Fresse, the WXW review podcast in English. Yep, it's that time. It's our WrestleMania week show that barely talks about WrestleMania. I'm Ian Hamilton, joined as always by Mike Kilby. And Mike, how's it going?
I'm doing well. I watched was it Coastal Championship Wrestling with Gangrel versus I can't remember versus Jimmy Lloyd in the main event. I watched that this morning. Uh, it was brilliant. It was like a all-star show. It was like a it was like something you get in St Albans or
It,
in the Alban Arena.
I had a lot of those shows on the background while I was working. It's been quiet in the mornings lately, and it was one unannounced, so unadvertised, and WrestleMania weekends you get matches announced that don't happen for whatever reason. And like I think they'd advertised PCO against Manders. So coming out, Thomas Shire, 51% a motherfucker, 41% son of a bitch. Like, well, one was the other 8% gone. But instead, they just brought out Manders, Cowboy Way against each other for 5 minutes, unadvertised. PCO, no idea where he was. It's like, that match, okay, I mean, it was like 1:30 in the morning in Vegas, so you're probably not going to get an engaged crowd. You're probably get more engaged crowd on the Progress show that's going on now. But yeah, just absolutely weird. Like, I think was it on Voices? They did about 2.5 hour podcast previewing WrestleMania weekend. There's just so much stuff going on. It's like, I know, Carrot weekends, will called out, like, got not as many, thankfully, but it can be very tough to go through some of the, especially like the showcase matches. Well, you put that on steroids and then even more steroids. It's like you've got so much stuff where if you're watching this stuff live, especially if you live over here in Europe, you're watching this stuff until first show starts 7 p.m. UK time, all the way up to like 10 a.m. the next morning. Yeah, you're probably best off watching this stuff on demand and pick up the good stuff. But yeah, frankly, we're
Alternatively,
not.
you do the I'll say his name the William Brown method and do it with two TV laptop at the same time.
I've been so when I've
I don't
been
know if you've seen
catching.
the setup. There's a photo of the setup somewhere.
I'll have to
It's
dig
the
up
way
what
to
I've
do it.
been doing. What I've been doing, like when being working from home, is on what I've got like two screens set up. So one's got my personal laptop plugged in, the other one my work laptop, and on my own screen I've got basically four Chrome windows, one in each corner because it's easier. And I've like four things going at the same time. It's only the stuff I don't give a crap about. It's like it's okay, I'll have it on the background. It'll be an absolute cacophony of noise on the speaker, but you'll hear bits and pieces. But yeah, because otherwise you're going to be watching this stuff for what best part of 2 weeks, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff in wrestling going on, and especially if you want to watch all was it about 30 shows, I think. Voice Wrestling had said they were either watching or going to be watching on stream. It's a lot, and that's they're doing it in real time somehow. More power to them, but we've just got three to go through this week. And yeah, it's three Wheel of Wrestling numbered shows, so we're still, I guess, in the wake of Carriage, and we've had the big crash of the waves there, so it's like the stuff afterwards. Of course, we've got some shotgun stuff because we get the shotgun taping, for like days after the live streams, and yeah, I guess we start with the oldest one, I suppose. Wheel of Wrestling 75. This was in Frankfurt, 16 Karat Gold Revenge. I mean, this is, I'd say it's been nearly a month ago, but this is one which is nice and compact, I think. It was like, 6 matches because they take one of the announced matches and pull that off the shotgun. Actually, before we go on a bit deep, what's your take on them doing that? Because I got burnt, I think, once last weekend. Match I was looking forward to ended up not happening because, that's going on shotgun. That to
Uh,
me, if you're hyped for live stream, and again it's very niche because you just got to wait a few days and get it for free. But I can see that being the kind of thing where some folks would get a little bit annoyed, especially if it was a match they were looking forward to.
It was a little bit annoying uh, because the match that we're thinking of, I think, is probably the Tihani Dieter Schatz match, wasn't it? That was the
Yeah.
one that. So we come back from the break, but the break ended up being 40 minutes long. It was a little bit like, okay, and so we were all sort of watching it together, and we were like, well, we could have watched like something else in the meantime, but no, yeah, I mean, it's it only affects the people who are watching it live, really, and I think there's that's probably less than maybe you think. I don't know, but it was it was a bit frustrating. There was the big long break, but personally, it doesn't really make much difference to me.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather they do what they're doing now than, put, I say, random inconsequential stuff. You know, at least it's a match, very fortunate enough for it to advertise for, for live stream, then, it's not, oh, hey, we've got this full card and now here's Roadkill. If I was on Shotgun, would put, every week, that would probably drag it down. But going to
I
Frankfurt
think
and yeah,
the only thing to say about it, sorry, as well, is obviously the way Shotgun was previously. Obviously it was just things off of cards which weren't necessarily taped, and occasionally there would be the things like you know stuff off of like the pre-shows, and that was it, sort of thing. So really, it it's just because we've been used to live shows, because we're now used to basically every show being live there or thereabouts. It's sort of getting used to that. But I mean, I think the format is really good in that sense anyway. So it's I don't really
oh
have
yeah, I
much
mean the,
complaints.
the new Shotgun format. I mean, we can't really pick any fault with it.
It's
And like I say
wonderful,
the
yeah.
fact that the matches we've got, it's not just throwaway fodder as well. It's not like the latter day Sunday night heat stuff. But we'll kick off with Frankfurt, and this one, let's say, was six match on the live stream. I thought it was pretty decent for what you had. This was one where the 10-pole match was Leah Bloom against Bobby Guns, defending the Unified World Wrestling title, first big match since Carrot. It was enough decent stuff from the undercard as well that didn't make this a one-match card. Did have some show date changes. Was meant to be in Cowboy Way against Panda Kajira for the tag titles. Robert Dreisker was out sick that day, so we ended up with 10 out of 10 next level in place of them on the main show. And was it Alex Duke was meant to have been against Katsuya Murashima? Then there'd
Hiroshima,
been Mark
yeah.
Empire match, which was the shotgun match. Yeah, I mean, don't go through too much because say we've got three shows and this was best part of a month ago. Amadeo against Dennis Stolnik. I think Amadeo's first big shot because he was brought in over Cowder Weekend. I think I wasn't expecting a title change here, but certainly Amadeo, for someone who's as young in his wrestling career as he is, didn't let himself down at all here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think someone who's sort of being given a shot, and as I say, these are the shows where you want to be seeing these people a little bit more, getting a little bit more time, and um, he's certainly someone who's taken the ball and opportunity and sort of ran with it in every sort of rep he's had, which I really like. And I think in this, if we look back to maybe where we were in 2025, we were probably saying the same thing about Alexander Bellamy.
Yep.
Um, and Ali, for what you can say, has established himself in a very well. It's an act which is a intrinsic part of the card. So yeah, I think he's doing really well in sort of every opportunity he's had so far.
Next, we had Dietrich Schwartz beating Nordino. They're still doing the shushing stuff, but it wasn't anywhere near as overdone as that Coward Weekend match. Thankfully, shows that they had since that's kind of died to death, so our fears are very much unfounded. Jane Neal beating Lil Mars. She was over for a couple of weeks. I think it's the tail end of her European trip. No, she's over in Vegas this weekend. But yeah, no, decent enough. They're still doing the Jane Neal as the quote unquote fake women's champion. I mean, for me, the fact that they're playing it up but it's not being hitting you over the head with a subtlety hammer kind of makes me think Femme Fatale's going to be the end point.
Yeah, I think you kind of can see them saying, by the way, if you really want this title for the title, I think there's that's a logical solution to it all, really, isn't it?
Especially with Femme Fatale not being a self-contained show like last year, it's going to be over the weekend, so it's something other than another trophy. And I guess we're not doing the tag tournament. No, that's not been for the title. So unless we change things this year, Koenig to catch it to me, ain't gonna be for a title. So I guess that's some prestige to it, especially now with the belt. Having been in mothballs for a few years.
Yeah, although
So
they have said a few times that they're not going to do the tournaments for titles, aren't they? They did say that last year, didn't they?
yeah, uh, plans
Yeah,
always change.
yeah, I suppose so.
I mean, we've still got a fit bit of dust on that women's title belt, so maybe we just need to get that shifted before they change their mind. We next had a trios match: Zoltan, Lawrence Roman, Nick Schreier over Metahan, who and Peter Tahani. This has been a bit of a through line throughout these pre-shows. Lawrence Roman and his past and present pet projects. That's been a really fascinating story we've been telling. There's been a bit of needle, no on shotguns, no comments made. Oh, he's your new favorite now from Metahan. And it's something which, if you've just been watching like the Leah Bloom show, the one called Manda's show, what have you, this has been a really good thing to get your teeth sunk into.
Yeah, it's and I think it's the sort of storyline that they have been able to tell better since Shotgun has come. Well, since Shotgun was coming in, I mean, it was sort of being teased maybe over sort of the Shotgun vlog, should we say? But I think now they're sort of getting a little bit more time. I think especially and a little bit. It's not so much just. I felt sometimes that the vlogs were just like them shouting over the music.
Yeah, the
get, through, get through as quickly as possible. But obviously now there's a little bit more time for a little bit more breathing and nuance to them. So they are sort of a lot able to sort of tell these sort of weave these threads over a longer sort of time, which is really good fun. Um,
I mean, obviously, for those who've been watching a bit more of the European scene, the Zoltan Lawrence Roman thing, it's been a lot more than I mean, the real story they've been telling is, Zoltan, government trained from Hungary to train with Roman in Dresden. I mean, it was just over, 2 years ago. Zoltan's German debut was for Project Nova against Roman. I mean, remember, like I say it's 2 years ago, but time flies. That was like a breakout just in terms of that was his, I think, second match. It ended up being was a Budapest Dojo thing that got released afterwards. But his first match that most people in mainland Europe would have seen. It's like, okay, he would have been 16 at that point, and I, I don't know. The running joke from he's just so disgustingly young. Like you've got a 16-year-old who, he's doing this, he's training, and he's going back to school Monday. And it's like, you could see from match one to however you want to count it, the promise was there. And like you look at this cage match, he's I think 147 matches deep at this point in 2 years. So
yeah,
it's not a guy who's like, well, I've debuted, so I can slack off train, I'll stay in my home promotion and put my feet up. He's been putting the work in, and as we'll see over Dresden, it's led to something. But as far as the Roman Nick Schreier thing, we've seen it feels like it's been a while now, for the first hardcore try stuff, where Nick wants his way and it always blows up in their face. And you kind of get that now here with, post Carrot. Roman is very much seems to be, fed up with try shit. And yeah, it's clear the teacher's favourite has changed in the weeks following Carrot.
in a way, it's kind of a little bit like. what Dreisker almost was treating him in a similar fashion, weren't they?
Yep, it's the Amboss thing all over again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And of course, on the other side, who met on Peach Tahani, this they built this was like the best of Carrot because you had three former Carrot winners, the youngest guy in Carrot, no, a two-time Carrot runner-up, and Nick Schreier. That, I think that felt a little bit like a dig with the way it was thrown in. Um, but who was not who Metahan since his latest comeback, he's been like Frank Grimes if he hadn't electrocuted himself, where he's gotten very indignant, but he's now realizing, hey, you're going to boo me anyway, so I'll just do what I want. So you're getting a lot of that, and of course, it meant that team didn't work well together. That kind of plays on, the next weekend. But yeah, well, pretty decent again. WXW when they do trios matches. It's been a long while since I've had one that absolutely stunk, and even with the weirdness and the interplay with the teams, this one, did its thing. It told the story, and it's 23 minutes didn't feel that long either.
No, yeah, it was a decent watch, that one. I thought, like you say, for the reasons you say, the grind and Zoltan sort of dynamic is quite an interesting one going forward.
Next, we had the retooled Cowboy against 10 out of 10 next level. Thankfully, wasn't a one-way squash. I mean, this was Manda's last show in. Thomas Shire had another weekend, so I don't think you could have gotten a tag title change here just because Kojiro only just won the belts back. But you have to keep Sharon Manda strong because of something that's being announced a couple of weeks later, which we'll get onto. Again, thought this was fine. Probably could have been a little bit shorter, but again, next level don't really get that much in the way of tag matches, especially now. They're effectively a Jane Nero's. How do you say?
Lackeys.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Alexander's turned into bloody Ken Kennedy in terms of ring announcing. When he's not choking on glitter, but yeah, I mean, for a team that's not really had that much, together. I mean, looking at their cage match, Duke and Bellamy's only had 20 matches together as a
Mm.
team, or as in some combination, partnering with each other. So, it's a kind of thing where nobody gave them a chance of beating Cowboy Way. So get the reps in. And means
Yeah,
you've got
I,
Sharon Manders coming out strong. So why not?
I was quite disappointed with this though. I would have much preferred them just to steamroll them.
Oh yeah, I mean, squash is always entertainment. I think for this, with bear in mind how
Yeah,
late in the day the change was, you squash them great, but at the same point of view, you've got them, out there as as lackeys who are meant to be, some kind of danger. You can't exactly have them losing 2 minutes as much as you'd like that, but yeah, sold enough for what you had. I'd be interested to see if they do ever loop back around to Kojiro and Cowboy Way. I know they are coming back over late in the year, so I guess we'll see there. And of course, main event, Bobby Guns against Leah Bloom for the Unified World Wrestling title. Again, this is another one I don't think many people had bought Bobby as winning just because Bloom's so young in his reign. But I think this is that, how do you put it? That solidifying title defense. Like he's had the orbit of guys he's been getting for a while now. He's had obviously Manders at Carrot. He's had I think Manders was the first defense, wasn't he? Yeah, because he beat Tahani at Back to Roots belt on his mindset. But he's been largely in the same few names. So you wanted that one match against someone who the big name from the past,
they've got
so to speak.
not really. Yeah, they're a credible challenger. That's probably what
Yeah,
I would say.
not
Likewise, if
not,
it
not
had
challenge for
been,
months, but yeah,
likewise if it had been like Tisha or Dreisker or Jörn Simmons or something like
yeah.
that, it would have been a credible challenger.
I mean, I know we're not going to touch on these because while they were dropped for free, they were I would say non-canon, but the last free match drop they did last weekend was a couple of matches Murphurt. And the main event there was Aaliyah Bloom against Tita Schwartz. Great match if you haven't watched it. The only downside I would say is at bell time, they did the whole thing of, because you fans in Erfurt have been such a great crowd, Leah Bloom's going to make this for the Unified World Wrestling title. And it's like, okay, well, we know the result. I mean, not that it was non-title or Bloom was going to lose. At best, you probably get like a screwy finish. But it's like, it's a not taped, but it's a, I say a C show, but it's a house show in Erfurt, and it's an impromptu title defense. Like, that's kind of put the result, without, in no doubt. I mean, and that's one thing for me that kind of, made me get to the match and go, I didn't know the result, but it's like I'm looking, thinking, but he's not winning here. You're not doing this on a house show. And besides, if even we did, you'd have been shouting the rooftops, within minutes, not 2 weeks later it comes out in VOD. But yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where with Bloom now with Manderson in the review mirror, you need to have the title defenses be against like established names, or not just, hey, he's in Port X in town, have your placeholder stuff. So yeah, it was as far as the Bobby Guns match, it was solid. Very few times I nearly bit, but again, it's that whole thing of knowing the way the special world title picture goes. You because he's not in any kind of big story arc, these kind of defenses, it'd be very unlikely to actually to pull the trigger and do the title change, especially on post 16 carat gold show 3 weeks after the tournament.
Yeah, it would be. I wouldn't put money on it.
So that was Wheel of Wrestling 75 in Frankfurt. Of course, the shotgun match, Katsuya Murashima going down against Mark Empire.
I thought that was good fun. I think that was one of the
yeah.
best. That was one of the best matches in this whole sort of tour, actually.
And what says the shotgun matches, they've made a point they are sub 10 minutes, so you're not going to get like the long drawn out. So great. And one of the shotgun matches today, the drop today as we record, kind of played into that. We'll get to a bit later on. Yeah, what they're doing with the shotguns, they are dropping. It's not just from like the old shotgun vlog was. Here's the next show, and then you're doing those beat by beat. They're actually dripping matches for a little bit further ahead, which is no good. So it's not just I don't care about that next show coming up. They're giving you many reasons, as well as the different story threads that's going on. So definitely well worth the watch. This week's was like an hour long, but yeah. It's not just matches and clips, and if you don't like the recaps, fast forward buttons there. So I think I managed to get through in about half an hour for 2 matches and all the clips. So yeah, well worth going up to this past weekend. They were in Saxony, starting out on Saturday night in Dresden. Shotgun match we had there would have been Dieter Schwartz and Peter Tony. We'll get on that in a second. Opened up with Metahan and Rambo beating Lawrence Roman and Nick Schreier. And this for one where finally had the debut of Los Compadres after what was it, Tag League 2 years ago, they teased that and then just never came to be. Remember Metahan and Rambo, you can call us Los Compadres, and then they disappeared again.
Yeah, well,
so
they've realised that Rambo's Rambo's like worth.
It's Homer Simpson and Frank Grimes. That's the comparison.
Yeah.
Rambo's cheat for existing. Metahan just gets booed. But I have noticed outside of Oberhausen, it's nowhere near as strong. And I think that's the one thing they kind of need to play a little bit, so it's not just another Oberhausen act. I thought it was fine. I think again, problem with this, the opener is Metahan's doing the Larry Sabisco stuff, so he's slowing everything down. It takes you out for match. The finish, you had Nick Schreier getting involved, Roman getting distracted because he wants to control everything, and that led to Metahan rolling up Roman, using his own belt to get extra leverage on the feet. So yeah, technically it's a loss, but Roman's going to blame Nick Schreier for it himself. And unfortunately, depending on your perspective, that's leading to Los Compadres going for a tag title shot, especially after the next night. Any thoughts on the opener?
I thought so. It was a bit of a. I thought actually it had done quite well considering, like the thing with the belt was quite. It was quite sort of a cute thing to do. Actually, I thought that was quite a clever thing. It was quite sort of slow and bumbling apart from that.
I mean, I
But like there
noted
were
like
part,
so I noted
there
like
were
we
yeah, go
lost 5 minutes of just stalling and chasing around ringside, and I about the whole okay, you being paid by the minute here, lads.
yeah. I say not really. I didn't love it, but I did like I liked the sort of crumbs of say the belt roll up and the you know the ongoing grind storyline which we've just discussed. Yeah, but it was apart from that, it was like this is Metahan and Rambo on, and it sort of set the pace for the show. I felt.
Oh God, we've got to talk about this, haven't we? Katsuma Shima against Shreddy. They're saying they're on different pages.
Yeah,
These lads are in different libraries at times. It felt like
yeah.
is like I've seen Shreddy every now and then. He was back on the old days of Defiant or What Culture Wrestling. I think when I looked, his first match for him was against Bad Bones, which will put a timestamp on how long ago that was. It, it just didn't work for me so much. Like I don't know if it's a language barrier. I know Shreddy's from my old neck of the woods, so yeah, the accent's going to be a thing. But I mean, he just had a tour with Kyushu Pro in Japan, so and I heard good things about his matches there, so I don't think it was that. This just work. This wasn't a. This didn't work. This just. I don't know. Like we
Q-Pro
joke.
will book literally anybody who
I've seen some of the names they've booked, and I'm not going to name them because I don't feel like being blocked. But
they
you look
they
at them on Cage Match. There's a lot of guys who's like, "Who the bloody hell is he?"
they will book anybody who goes there. It's not any achievement to get to Q-Pro.
But yeah, I mean, with this one, it just felt like there was a lot of, Shreddy had to get his stuff in to establish himself, even though he's only in for one weekend. It really hindered Murashima, and I think it was one spot, and I forget what it was. It felt like it was a bump that happened. I could not tell whether it was who's like meant to be doing the move, who's meant to be taking the move. It's like it was just one of these, just everyone fell down. It's like what were you going for, lads? Murashima, I've noticed he's doing a giant swing, which he definitely wasn't doing in New Japan. And I do wonder if that's like a fake out, like the bouncing Boston Crab that he got over in New Japan before he left. If that's going to be the fake out, like, well, I'm going to do a giant swing because you all can be expecting to not roll over. Well, I'll just pick up and swing you. Um, Again, if Claudio Castagnoli wasn't doing that, probably a bit more impactful. But again, nobody in Europe's doing it, so no, it's free. Um, I think this one where it was experience. We all sat through it. You live and learn. I think it's the best way to without burn because yeah, I this could have been much worse, but at times I felt this was veering into Martina Vader Scott territory as far as legendarily bad.
It weren't that bad. It weren't that bad.
It was threatening to head there.
Yeah.
But so after that, we had a mixed tag, Jay New and Alex Duke against Lil Mars and what was it he called himself on that shotgun? The women's representative for WXW, Ahura,
Yes.
which yeah, he's making sure to get some screenshot moments in. But yeah, this is where Alexander Bellamy did the Ken Kennedy stuff. He's doing the Jay Nero, so that's the new shtick to have everyone boo Nero, which it works. It's cheap heat, but it works. There's one bit in this match. I know Mark Shuttle put this on Instagram, which absolutely popped me towards the end. So you had ref interference. Shooter Schultz, went out to argue with Bellamy, and the cameraman, I think it was Barris, I think it was, held the shot, so they didn't switch to the hard camera. So, you see, Bellamy and Schultz at ringside arguing. They keep the shot and follow, them around, and you just see all this wacky stuff in the ring. Like there's more, low blows and what happens. Like it was so ridiculous. Like this whole premise wasn't ridiculous enough. It was like it worked because you'd see the standard in wrestling is a bit distracting, but you don't see what you just see in the corner because the actions of the thing was like, they wanted to show the focus was Jay Nero's goons, for one better word, were distracting and ended up, eventually costing, her and Duke the win. But I thought it's like one of those things where it's like, it's such a change from the norm. It was absolutely refreshing.
Yeah, as I say, the Uhura sort of should, as I say, has back at exactly the right time because it has given Uhura to do the playing around with stuff, and I think especially the episode that dropped today as well is sort of very much the same sort of thing, and it's him just sort of hanging around is kind of exactly the way that he needs to be booked, and then say getting himself into situations like this and getting himself into matches like this. This is the sort of way to really get these guys sort of, having somebody that high up the card being able to interact with a lower level tag team and also sort of a fly-in, it's beneficial for everybody because everybody
Yeah.
sort of looked good in. Do you know what I mean? So
Because, I mean, on paper, you could easily go, well, he won Carrot, he should be getting his title match and feuding with Bloom. Well, yeah, but
he doesn't want it.
well, also we had that 6 months ago. If you were going to do the template
Yeah,
stuff, we literally just had that 6 months ago. So the fact that he is doing this and was done with Shock Knight, well, WXW is my company. I call the shots. So the fact that he's doing this stuff, it's not just the template of he won the tournament, he's main event, but he's elevating everybody else because I don't know if you've noticed, there's all these tryouts going on, with no risk of names getting signed, which we'll get to in a moment. But the fact that it's not just a Who and X all the time, it's given variety, which when you're running these kind of shows, you want more than just, you would title feud of the month because I don't know if you've noticed, Mike, if roster ain't that big, you're going to burn through those challenges very quick and then you're cycling.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and say it's rushing straight back into a horror bloom. I don't think you need to do it. Give it a bit of time to rest.
After that, we went backstage. CS yet again trying to steal Robert Dreiska's pizza. Um, Lee Bloom again. He's always been making a save for CSI or stop him getting in trouble, which I don't know if that's going to pay off down the line. Then Nordino just pisses himself because he's caught wearing the Road Warrior gear, which, yeah, they'll learn one of these days, but today ain't that day. Next up, I had the shotgun title. Axel Tischer beating Dennis Dolnik for the shotgun title. This was the rematch from Carrot Weekend. They did play up some of the Carrot stuff like the tug of war that led to the ref bump that led to the DQ back then. That didn't happen here, but we did get was something that for time it faked me out. That 10-minute time call, we never get those in shotgun matches. And as soon as they said that, I thought, they're doing the draw here, aren't they? But nope, we did the
Yeah,
finish. So he exploded, German suplex, Liger bomb, and Axeman wins the belt he won at Carrot 6 years ago. And hopefully doesn't have to give him in a few weeks.
yeah. It was a surprise, but I think it's the right time to do it, the right place to do it
Yeah.
anyway as well. Without question. But yeah, it was. I had the same sort of fear as yourself, like you say. It's you don't want to be when you do announce that. But I was sort of looking at that. I was like, this it feels surely they won't do it again because they've done it so much in sort of recent years. Um, I mean, they have done the call to say 3 minutes to go, haven't they? A few times. Haven't
Yeah, I think the 10 minute one is the weird one because like they never do. Maybe it's the first time they do it, and no, it's the whole thing. The first time it's always the one where it's a, oh well, we're a bit suspicious. I mean, I was at Rev Pro a few years back, like pre-pandemic, a few years ago back. They started doing the time calls, and it built up eventually to a time limit draw. Then they stopped doing it. I think it's not doing it; you've got to be consistent because dropping in then forgetting about it. That's the kind of stuff which
they? Yeah.
telegraphs it.
Them
But
doing it for the first time ever on the first match of the show that has Osprey versus Pac on it
yeah,
was the stupid thing to do.
and then it turned into a meme. But then, that's such as life. But yeah, I think the Dolnick thing, like I say, it was starting to get towards the point where people were longing for change. He won the belt, he retired Hector. I think the thing at this point is now it's on someone else. He now have like a revolving door of heels, I guess. Um, and I know they've kind of been acknowledging the KXS stuff on social media, but I do wonder if they go down the Mudo run because that team hasn't really performed together as a team. You were getting the needling between the two of, well, all I've got to do is say I'm in carriage, you've got to qualify, and he didn't. And in fact, for now, Axeman's got the shotgun belt back. Is that's an easy one route to go down. But yeah, I think it's one of those. Since we said Dresden, we were making such a big deal about it. This is either where it's going to be the big title defense and a big title win, or it was yet another feather in the boat. But then it's where, well, if not Tisha, then who? So between Dudley, he'll have his time again. Um, I think with this, very clearly built up to Axeman and Dresden as a 10 pull for whatever reason.
Yeah, exactly, and it's the place to do it, isn't it? So
Next, we had the second title change for night. Zoltan pinning Ricky Sos to win the European title, and I'm going to put this in because I was not a big fan of Sosa the next day in Leipzig. I don't know what it is. Like, was that story? Was it Fightful Report? And this at the time it felt like absolute tosh. Leon Slater, he's reported for people feeling he's saving himself at TNA. It's like, well, that's weird because like he literally worked Rev Pro a week before that story and he wasn't holding back. This I felt like Sosa just didn't get out of second gear, and it was a rematch back to Sosa's debut, the Extreme Wrestling Pod, which Sultan won, which when I was looking for, oh yeah, of course he did, but there's a bit, but people doesn't exactly go through in the story. But yeah, as a match, I just thought it was fine, but it never threatened to hit anything close to higher gear. And the next night against Ahura in Leipzig, I just was not. I just thought something was off this weekend with Sosa, whether it was what we used to call the house show effort, but there's just something about this weekend of Sosa just did not work, and like it wasn't he didn't know the crowd liked it. The crowd felt flat as well, which I just thought was weird.
well, I think I'm aware I'm maybe living in a bubble with the whole Sosa thing, but I don't know whether the whole Sosa TNA thing is getting much traction outside of the online people. Like, do you know
No,
what I
but
mean?
the same point you'd have expected people like so he's got the I guess the non-union equivalent of his Bang Bang Sosa Sosa music, as close you're going to get under, GEMA regulations. But it's like, to me, I don't feel like he's ever had that full, like the full viral moment, the moment in the stuff that you've seen with, whether it's APC, whether it's Banger Zone or wherever else. When maybe it is for music, maybe it is for the entrance. But I think as soon as his signing with TNA was announced, I was a small number of folks looked for went, they're going to switch it on, mate, because okay, TNA they've just announced their big
They
show
have to.
schedule for the
They
rest of
had
the
to.
year. But yeah, I mean, we said last time out, if he's signed, you cannot base around him because you don't know if TNA's going to. Oh, hey, TV tapings this week. And to be fair, with Sosa, they did write him out on. Like TNA had a pay per view last week, and this will kind of show you just how screw everything was. TNA debuted him. They did the whole last pay per view. Oh, he signed. Then the day before the next pay per view, they had I think it was Eric Young write him out again so he could do these shows. Yet people watching TNA thought, oh, it's a setup for something for tapings. Not, yeah, he's actually being advertised online for shows in Germany. But I mean, I think, like I said with Sosa, it's for me, it's the same thing with Leon in Rev Pro. If you get him for matches, and I'm always booked, visit for Papenburg, swing in a couple of weeks' time, you can use him, But I think it's the kind of thing where you use them for spotlight, not to build on, because you cannot guarantee what availability you're going to get. And no, we joked this European title's cursed. It sure seems like it again, as we found out earlier this week. That European belt's got tension on again. But yeah, I thought could just go back to the match. I just thought it was fine. It's clearly what they clearly had it set to, not bury, but just get, do the title change, and then we see what goes on with Zoltan, because certainly Sosa was the more flashy of the two, historically in his the brief WXW run, but I definitely think Zoltan's the guy who's got longer legs, certainly on the European scene.
Yeah, I think that's the he's less likely to run off, should we say?
Let's not jinx that.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's not jinx that. Keep going. We had CSI against Planet Kojima. This wasn't quite a superstars level squash, but it was as one side as you're going to get. CSI had a few brief moments, but the tag champions were never going to be threatened too much by them, and that was the case here. But I think some I noticed, I don't know what they didn't really play this up. There's the whole Leah Bloom stuff earlier in the show. So when CSI were ended up trying on the Road Warrior gear, Dreisker seemed a little bit shook up by Bloom just even being in their orbit. So that seems to be a little seed that's being planted, which again, Shotgun this week kind of plays up. Main event, Thomas Shimon's new music, unsuccessful against Leah Bloom for the Unified World Wrestling title. This one I think is going to be a bit divisive, because you had people. Well, the pace from the off was very slow and deliberate. Tom Shire's heel wasn't exactly all crowd pleasing. Apart from that one fan, I suppose, who you want to trade places with. But yeah, I thought if this was slow and deliberate, but not in the derogatory sense. Like Shire knew what he was wanting to do. He was happy controlling the pace, taking Bloom out of his match. But I think at the end, it's that whole thing of, this was always the, quote, challenge of the week kind of defense for Bloom. It was perfectly fine. It's one I would definitely say it's worth a watch, especially if you want to see Bloom against a different kind of wrestler, certainly different kind of fly-in. But yeah, I think with this, I guess worth watching as well for the first real steps in Shire's new attitude as well. He did, kind of tease it over Cow, but I think these were first real steps, especially since it's coming back in a couple of weeks' time. They're saying a turn for the sake of a turn.
Yeah, I think it was, like you say, it wasn't one I think that would land for everybody. Very deliberate and very sort of I think purposely slowed down in a way, but yeah, it was a decent main event. I think it was there were to sort of look back on the show as a whole, there were points where the quality was not excellent, unfortunately, but like ultimately the results were important and interesting. If that makes sense. There were, the title changes were sort of some I didn't expect to get both. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, it was going to be one or the other, and I honestly thought once we had the Tisha one, well, Sosa's keeping it for whatever. Especially because, the next night was Sosa and Ahura non-title, so that was obviously not going to be it. But we'll move on to Leipzig. So this one, if you're watching live, was German-only commentary because of the internet in Leipzig ain't great. Opened up with, again, we've only had a few matches announced, so some unannounced stuff. Zoltan defending the European title against Dieter Schwartz. That one surprised me because as soon as they announced that, or they had them come out, I had a feeling they were just going to bounce it straight away, because Schwartz out the twos for hotter, especially coming out of Coward Weekend. But yeah, Zoltan against a very different kind of wrestler for him. Thankfully we didn't get the shushing, so we can put that in the rearview mirror. But yeah, I think it's one where it's I guess an upset based on their two position. Zoltan not really racking up for wins. neither Dieter Schwartz or Zoltan's Hungarian, so that's kind of put a pin in the, I'm good against people who aren't German thing he had going on.
It would have been, yeah, because he wasn't he undefeated, I think, for a period. Against
Until
sort of
Naito, yeah, it was
till nine
unbeaten
ninety,
against
yeah.
anyone who wasn't from Germany, which, yeah. But yeah, so that one, pretty solid opener. Then we had CSI against Tower 10 Next Level. Like like I said earlier, you've got to give them reps. They're not, especially CSI. They're the comedy relief for the time being. The finish, if it was any other team, I'd be like, oh, what the are you doing? But doing the fake Eddie Guerrero stuff because not Dino and was it Bellamy,
Yeah.
flying, fighting over flag. Dino then throws it at Bellamy, drops down like he's being shot. Felix Schultz sees it, and I thought, oh, he's going to do well. I can't see it. I didn't see it. I can't call it. Then we just ring the bell anyway. CSI is doing that thing. The crowd's starting to turn to them.
Yeah, it's. I sort of was jokingly saying the other day to somebody who was saying, it honestly wouldn't shock me if they were like very very high. They get very very far into tag league. It wouldn't shock me.
No, maybe not to the finals, but I could see definitely getting through.
Yeah,
Get through Friday and Saturday, and then multi-man tag on Sunday. And when you think January, they weren't really thinking before the start of this year, so that just shows you, a dozen shows and constant use. And it's not like, oh, they're winning every match, because they're not. But like, dozen shows, and it's working,
yeah, and
especially
it's
with
a
the
easy
shotgun stuff.
it's an easy gimmick to get behind, isn't it? Ultimately,
Then after that, we had Katsuma Oshima against Fast Time Mudo. Yeah,
shockingly decent.
yeah. I mean, this to me is like Mudo
Yeah,
from the COVID era. And again, maybe it's Leipzig, maybe it's the it was I called the Jesus pop because he's back in his hometown. But yeah, that Mudo felt like he was in his element here.
yeah, it was Mudo on home turf. I suppose that also did help.
And again, I was putting review. It's another loss for Mudo. Day after Axeman won the belt. That gap's widening. Was it the mind of a gap? So all of a sudden fans keep mocking the Geordies with this season. Had Ben Tama, one of the host shotgun backstage interviewing the grind. They didn't turn up, so instead we got the video package of all of Roman's recent, let's say, like increased aggression
Exploits.
since. And then was that whole thing that they'd put on social media earlier in the day, but this fed in the show. Uh, Roman celebrated the result and after the match, but then backstage did the same again. Nick Schreier confronted him and an argument, and yeah, so that's kind of where we are here. It led to Roman and Schreier's main event in Leipzig. Ricky Sosa against Ahura. I kind of say what I want to say like this to me. How do you get so little out of Ahura crowd reaction wise?
At
I
its
mean,
hot, at
this
its
went 20
hottest, yeah.
minutes. This went 20 minutes and it felt every single one of them.
Yeah, and it was very very long. Ambling at ambling, but as I say, Sosa just didn't look interested at all, and
No.
Ahura I think kind of picked up on that vibe.
The one thing I did pick up on, who's been watching, I'm going to be crucified by whichever section of fans get this wrong. So I'll say he's been watching his Joshi tapes because I saw him do the whirling candy, like the spinny crossbodies. Like, was that meant to be that, or was that like just completely out of nowhere? I've never seen him do that before. At least what I can remember. It's like you're doing like a random, like I again my brain shot this week. But like the whirling candy, it's someone from Tokyo Joshi Pro, I think it is. Is it oh, here comes a clacky keyboard.
Anyway,
Mizuki. Yeah,
I
Mizuki
mean,
from Tokyo
Ahura is
Joshi
a
Pro, yeah,
diva.
yeah.
Ahura is a
Well,
diva, so it makes
it
sense. Yeah.
fits. But yeah, I think there's a match. This is one where I dare say even 3 months ago you'd have gotten something much more coherent outfit, but this to me just felt like someone didn't tell them the camera was rolling. And like I say, who clearly picked up on it. So, yeah, again, this one, I know they've announced, is it for Papenburg, Sosa, and I want to say, is it Bobby Guns?
Yeah,
No, Sosa and Cash is in Papenburg, and it's Peter Tahani in Paderborn. I can see at least one of those making tape on the shotgun drops, but to me, I think unless it's like one of the bigger shows, I think we are done with Ricky Sosa as a featured act, shall we say? And unfortunately, that was him going out of something of a whimper.
yeah. I say I don't see much future for him really. I think they seem to be going quite all in on him in America, and ultimately, say the reliability issue I think is causing him an issue. Probably.
He'll be popping out. I saw Progress booked him for something next month, I think.
Yeah,
Or was
he's
it one of the Manchester shows? He'll be around, but I think in terms of being a fixture, yeah, it was short, it lasted, and as long as that TNA contract's in play, it's going to be what it's going to be. Next up, we had Peter Tahani beating Thomas Shire. I think this is one, again, Shire's last match in for the time being. So it was the obvious, give Tahani the win. I think it was solid, it went sub 10 minutes. It was usual, Shire, big man, Tahani, bouncing around a bit. Perfectly fine for what it was. One of them, I forget what I was saying this too. It's very telling Tahani since Carrot. They've kept him the hell away from the world title picture because he didn't win Carrot, so he's not due a shot. But he's very much in that thereabouts where he's in big name matches, and one we'll talk about soon. But also, it doesn't feel like much he's doing has much substance for the moment. It's feature matches, but don't seem to have a bite to it, if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, well, he's versatile, and they are potentially teasing something with him. Probably talk about shortly, but
Yeah,
he's versatile in the sense that he is sort of seen to be licking his wounds a little bit, isn't he?
yeah. In fact, he's slowly regaining the fans' trust as
Yeah.
well. It's not hey, you're a good guy now, everyone cheers me, yay. Had Lil Mars rematch against Jane News. This was, like I say, rematch from Frankfurt. We had 10 out of 10 next level being ejected from ringside, but only after Mars blew some glitter in Alexander Bellamy's mouth, made Ken Kennedy, which it's been a while since we've had a choking angle in Germany. So, but I think, again, this is Mars's last match in Europe for the time being. So this was Jane Neal, get yourself over. She's debuting a new finisher, figure four hits. This is easy for me to say. And again, Twist Fate's decent, but it's one of those moves which it's kind of got big links to the past, so getting something else over. It's always good, especially for the bigger matches, because we've called out in the past. There's been times where guys will do moves. It's like, oh, you don't have another finish. Do it again and again and again, and it kind of gets a bit drawn out. So, this was like a feather in a cap, so to speak, for stuff down the line.
Yeah, it's. I thought it had a decent sort of run. But it is a little bit difficult to establish yourself when you're only in here for 2-3 months. So you need to do
Yeah,
if you do want to get in, you need to be like Ava Everett and be here for 6 months.
yeah. I know she's must have read the new Belly Lodestone stuff over WrestleMania week. So again, it's the whole putting the miles in rather than get burnt out in a certain region. So it makes sense, but it does mean when you're doing these kind of matches, especially when, let's be frank, the small women's roster WWE has at the moment, it does mean you're going to be having the same matches and maybe kind of predictable results. But yeah, hoping she comes back at some point, because if she's putting the miles in, you should be seeing the improvements. So hope we get to see some of that. Trios match next, Dennis Stolnik and Planet Kajira against Los Compadres and Axel Tischer. Much like the Frankfurt match, you had the wacky clash of personalities here. This one kind of solidified the Los Compadres title shot stuff. Um, but yeah, this one was I don't. Is it this? It wasn't bad, but the stuff in here just didn't work for me. Like you had, Dulnig was trying to use this to get another shot of the shotgun belt, bringing in the belt for a belt shot. I've said belt way too many times there. Um, it was just one of those where it just felt like it was another match where it wasn't can they coexist, but the personalities just didn't seem to mesh as much as you'd want them to.
Yeah, I don't think. I think what I did like about it is that, like, Tisha was kind of reluctant. He was kind of a bit. He was a bit annoyed by the kind of the bullshit that Metahan's sort of pulling. I did
Yeah,
like that, which is quite fair. I think Tisha has sort of babyfaced himself now, and Metahan is clearly working heel while Rambo is not. um, so it's I think it was interesting. Likewise, Dullig doesn't really fit in with Dreisker's sort of philosophy either. So it was kind of just a lot of people who just don't really make sense who can't really work well with each other. But that was interesting. It was certainly interesting. I think as a grouping of people.
yeah. So yeah, so our one was more setting up stuff for down the line. Then, of course, main event. Nick's try against Lawrence Roman. This was pretty good. The match was announced on the day. You're definitely seeing the Roman getting more aggressive back to his old days as the Amboss Pitbull. Sadly, not a little bit further back to the old days of Vash Bear, but hey, it is what it is. Um, Nick Schreier for being the guy who went forever without winning. No, he's certainly comfortable in the role he's got, and I do get the sense that we're probably going to get the turn maybe around shortcut for top. Maybe these are the two guys who have a breakout or the big story going in König to Catcher this year. But yeah, I think definitely it's the kind of thing with the story is clearly Roman. We've seen for almost best part of the year now he's losing his tether with Nick Schreier. When Roman does it his way, it works, but when he gives Schreier a bit of slack, it kind of blows in their face. And it's a whole lot, he doesn't want to snap on him, but the cracks are definitely there.
Yeah, I thought this match. I liked sort of. I thought Schreier had sort of a really good performance in it. Um,
Yeah.
and got some
The
good
blood as well from that
Yeah,
facebuster. It's been a while since that's been a literal move.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought this was sort of really nice. And like kind of, it doesn't feel like it's. Well, has the grind actually split up? I don't know.
So there was the shock. We can bleed this into
Yeah,
the
well,
shotgun but drop tonight. So we had some
yeah,
backstage stuff. Peter Detroit's Peter Harney was the opener match. Again, really good. They did the whole thing of doing the normal match. Then, without the 2 minutes remain, they realised, crap, we're getting to time. And we did the whole, I'm going to go pin, I'm going to go pin. And one of those back and forth pins actually worked. So, well worth watching, especially playing to I guess, the shotgun rules. But yeah, it fit. Um, the first backstage stuff, I guess this was, it's not the, we'd done as a team, but it was definitely the first major cracks. Roman and Try were arguing backstage in Leipzig. Roman being all apologetic and Leah Bloom again, the peacemaker. Like he must have some Swiss heritage in him, but he, Bloom saying no, basically saying leave, leave him alone. Um, you know, you did what you did. This isn't the right time. Um, Schreier, definitely listen to that stuff from Metahan on the previous shotgun. Zoltan's your pet favorite now. And what's the line from Roman? I'd rather sit in a train for 7 hours from Hungary with Zoltan than sit in a car with you. You're ungrateful. And that's led to a match for Hamburg next month, Zoltan and Roman against Schreier and Bloom, which, again, we're keeping Bloom busy while who doesn't want that title shot.
yeah. And that's a great. That Hamburg or
True
that's True
Colours in
Colors.
Hamburg, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great Hamburg style match. That does feel like that Hamburg has a certain sort of house style to some of their shows, and that's a Hamburg tag. That is.
And I think as well, I don't think you're going to get the turn here, but you're definitely going to get some more creaking in the fabric between the grind. But keeping on with Shotgun, we had Uhura with CSI. Again, we're saying it's Uhura lifting everyone up. CSI claim they helped Uhura win Carrot, so they're responsible for Gold King. Who just pointed out Italy, you guys didn't even make the World Cup. Who's got girls coming over, so yeah, you can stay here, but you've got to go before they go. And of course, they do go, but they pop up later on having nicked both his trophies.
Yeah,
Metamasi, yeah,
stole them.
Metamasi with Peach Tahani, that sets up. He wants a match against the best he can, so he's getting Yota Tsuji in Hamburg. Be very curious to see if this is for Tsuji's global belt because um, obviously Yota lost the IWGP World Belt to Callum Newman, but he had the global thing as well, and he was doing the whole thing beforehand anyway. Of in Japan, I defend the world title. Overseas, it's a global belt, so I don't know if they play that chip, but that would also kind of tip off a result, I guess. Um, yeah, so Dieter Schwartz, he wandered in during that promo saying he was so close to beating Tahani. Tahani mentioned, I'm a former two-time champion. I'm a former two-time Carrot finalist. Dieter pointed out, well, you're a two-time finalist. That means you've not won. That, to me, felt a bit more than, oh, I should have beaten you, usual backstage stuff. So maybe that's the ongoing feud going into, heck, maybe even Shortcut. Because to me, just everything in
Yeah,
WWE is for a reason.
it does. It does feel like the right sort of direction for them to be pushing. Sort of Schwartz to say, and it's um, like it wouldn't hurt him if he did. I don't think it would necessarily hurt either if they had a very good match and sort of one of them snuck the other. I
Yeah.
don't think it would be particularly sort of bad for either of them, really. So.
So we'll see where that goes, and of course, if the global belt gets put on the line here, Jane Neal, she's got Diana Strong in Hamburg. Of course, Diana Strong recently headlines uh, one of the beneficiaries of Mercedes Monet's title shedding. Jane Neal says she doesn't give a crap about who she's beaten in the past. Mentions Danny Luna again, saying, well, Danny, you missed the last show in Hamburg. You're not getting a shot in my belt. So clearly, again, everything for a reason, like the old days of Shotgun, like that. In Planet Kaju's dressing room afterwards, tries to a bit regretting that he took on the trios match, especially what happened with with Tisha and Dolnig. Then had Methan Rambo coming in, Rambo in Spanish, Methan in German asking for a title shot. Got some really bad puns, and that's another match for Hamburg. We're also getting Dolnig and Axeman rematch in Hamburg. Dolnig said he wanted it on neutral turf, and he called himself a hamburger young, which I might need to check for those birth certificates, Dennis. Nicholas Bock he wasn't on these shows, but well, at least on screen. But he's doing one of his vlogs, and he sees CSI in the most ridiculous outfits sneaking by backstage with the Koenigsegg Catcher and the Carrot
They might have
trophies.
been. They might as well have been wearing striped jumpers with the raccoon faces.
Yeah, I thought they were going to go with the Antarctic. It's like those kind of thick puffer jackets, but yeah, who were called them up because they got so distracted with Bock's vlog, who realised Bock wasn't in on it. So we're getting a match in Hamburg, Null V and Null and Null's X9 connect, and again, this feels like it's been a thread for the whole show. Ahura lifting up the undercard. You're getting the guy Nicholas Bock. He's had what? Hamburg last time and Carrot Weekend match free, and it's linked with the top star in the company. That's quite a spot.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's say this is Ahura in his absolute element, isn't it? Where he's just sort of hanging around and just getting in scraped. So in the past sort of 2 episodes, he's just hanging around with him. Hanging around has got him in with Lil Nas, 10 out of 10 next level, Jane Nero, CSI, and now Nicholas Bock. So that's 8 wrestlers over the course of 2 episodes. He's basically got
Yep.
entangled with, and
The
who
wonder
have
of
got who.
shoulder programming like this, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Skip the matches that got announced because we'll cover them in the second main event. Shreddy against Leah Bloom. It was the squash you were expecting this was going to be. It wasn't one way, but Shreddy didn't have a chance, even though it was non-title. Win for Leah Bloom, exactly what he wanted, nothing more, nothing less. End of Shotgun, and they did this in the last one, making sure you watched to the end. Sit-down interview, Joey Sensation with Robin Christopher Forwerk. Forwerk dodged a question about how did the link for Kojiro come around. Second question was about Peach Tahani, and Forwerk went as white as a ghost. Didn't want to bring up anything about Tahani. He's like, no, I thought we said no Tahani questions. I'll walk out. You get no interview. That bit was all left in his little temper tantrum. Eventually, he comes about being a little bit hurt, understandably, about how a non-wrestler was left lying in his own blood, getting mocked because he had to fight Leah Bloom. Peach Tahani abandoned me. Planet Kajou supported me instead. And now he's the spokesperson handling the stupid questions rather than Kojira's they can focus on the real work. But shotgun ending with a very rattled Robin Christopher Forwerk, and clearly stuff with Bloom and Tahani, a lot of unsolved business there.
Yeah, I thought it was quite a like I sort of alluded to. Yeah, there might be stuff bubbling along with Tihani. I could almost see them doing like a terrible terrible thing where like Forwerk holds up his contract and prevents him from working or something like that. I could entirely see that sort of thing happening maybe.
But yeah, that's certainly something they haven't. They haven't played it up, but it's the whole thing of you don't want the subtlety hammer all the time. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes. And obviously, big shows coming up, Driver Champion Shock at the top, and then of course the festival. So we'll see. But a couple of news bits before we wrap up upcoming shows. We didn't have these numbers when we did the big couch review pod, but Wheel of Wrestling 74, 439 people in the crowd, up from the 348. Night 3 drew 976 people, up from the 900 for the year prior. So that's all 3 nights of Carrot hitting about 1,000 people per night, which
Yeah.
that is good going. If you want to do like the cumulative numbers, 2,967 for 3 Carrot shows. It's the highest since 2020, which obviously had the COVID reduced years and then the build up. 2020 did 4,141. 2019 did 4,062. 2018 was the first year in Turbine Hall 1 did 3,070, so a bit for comp there. 2018, the year with the Big Ilya return. So 2019, 2018, the year of Big Ilya return. In 2017 did 2510, but I was in a smaller Turbine Hall 2. So yeah, certainly, as we said last time out for Coward numbers, definitely, the buzz definitely felt back in the room that weekend.
Yeah, definitely. It's that's it's a good positive thing, and I say it's important when they have great houses like that they do knock it out of the park, and I certainly think they certainly did this past weekend. And
Hyperactive,
it appears more people are coming
yeah.
going forward as well.
Heck, we'll get on to Driver Champions. That one's got a lot of people circling the date. Hyperactive, they've been confirmed for Pro Wrestling Grand Prix Tag Team Tournament. Of course, Sapphire Reed and Nita Vaughn, they won the last 2 years as Femme Fatale tournament. So, yeah, that makes sense. They're currently over with Sendai Girls in Japan. So, they'll come back with a bit more experience. Killer Kelly's back. She's in Femme Fatales. Last involved in 2022's event, going out to Alice Inc. in the semi-finals. Chihiro Hashimoto and Mercedes Martinez were also announced previous over Coward Weekend. We also touched about Ricky Sosa. Alex Dukes over in Las Vegas, he's working, by the time you guys hear this will have happened, he's working on the St. Louis Anarchy Let Anarchy Be Anarchy show on Thursday night. He will be facing a Chase Holiday. Decent lineup: Charlie Evans, Mad Dog Connolly, and Cowboy Way. So a few names we'll be familiar with. That'll be one I'll be watching on demand. But that'll be what it's actually about an hour and a half times we
About
recorded
11
this.
o'clock.
So yes, if you're pulling a late night, that'll be one. Yota Tsuchi, he's True Colors in Hamburg next month. He's had 2 matches in WXW in the past, January 2023, losing to Bobby Guns and Axel Tischer the Back to Roots Fight Forever weekender. So Welcome back, Yoda Suji. Ava Everett, mentioned her earlier. She and LSG will be back later this month, in fact. The Papenburg Paderborn weekend. LSG was last in WXW in May of last year, losing to Hector for shotgun belted fan. Ava was over in November, beating Madison Marley in Frankfurt. A couple of those names we'll come back to. Driver Champions we just mentioned. It's moved venue just by a few yards. It was originally announced for Turbine Hall 2, now in Turbine Hall 1. And when you see the names we've got for this, I'm not surprised. Jun Akiyama had already announced for that. He's in the main event with Ahura against Cowboy Wave. That's going to be a wacky shotgun after that. Ahura and Jun Akiyama in the room. They've also announced Eddie Kingston. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
that was a big shock, I think, for a lot of people, and it's pushed a lot of people to say, yeah, we're going.
Because Kingston last into WXW COVID Carrot went up in the semis to Cara Noir, who was last into WXW 7 years prior. It was that whole tag league thing 2019 he was booked for. Obviously couldn't attend, but that whole thing and the replacement and all that indirectly spawned Norman Harris and Bobby and the Bastard. So yeah, that was quite a bit of happenstance. Actually, we are looking to go into Driver Champions. First 3 rows and all the floor seating's gone. So standing has gone, beg your pardon. You're just down to balcony standing, VIP and general seating. So that one's going to be doing really healthy. And whether it's Eddie, whether it's Jun Akiyama or what, but for a June show, that's selling a lot better than I was expecting. And it probably is for names.
Yeah, and so Driver Champions isn't one that necessarily jumps out as being one of the ones to do. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I'm
If
looking like last year's Driver Champions was in Turbine Hall 2. That did 460. So you're probably looking like for
yeah,
them to
it's
have
gonna be
done
well
that,
over that. This,
you're looking easy 500-600 has to be.
yeah,
Which for
yeah,
pre summer break show that's good going. Um, got some more dates at Broken Rules next year. So 2027 is in Dresden for Stromberg, May 17th. This year's Broken Rules in the Batch Cup in Frankfurt in July. So I saw a few people trip on that. It's like, Broken Rules hasn't happened yet. Because the Rexley doesn't marry shows to months like some other places do. Couple of names that used to be around these parts. Mike DeVecchio, he finally made his TV debut for the start of this month on Evolve under the name of Dorian Van Du. Cesare, he finally debuted on the same show as Romeo Moreno, and also as an extra in a Minute Maid advert of Cody Rhodes. Like, is he a wrestler? Is he a model? What were you doing, lads?
he did look like a model, to be fair.
And he don't have the same dead behind the eyes look as well, so they probably saw that and went,
Ah, come on,
staring at a vending machine for a bottle of lemonade. Yeah, that's longing for lemonade. That's the look we want.
great album name that actually.
What, longing for lemonade?
Yeah,
Should be the episode title.
be writing that one down. Yeah,
Um, and we alluded to earlier, we had in the last few days a bunch of European names announced for WWE tryouts. This has gone from being, don't tell anyone about this, we'll have to have, was it Casey Michael, God rest his soul, who was doing all the work to like dig up the names and, hey, do you know who this person is? And we get all those lists. Now, they're just doing themselves that whole thing of, I worked on this for months and he just tweeted it out. But we've got a load of names from the WXW sphere. Peter Tahani, probably the biggest name from the lineup that we would know about. Orshi, Zoltan, and M4 as well. Brandon Barnes, Kuro, Leon Cage. I think for these trials last year they got Cesare and Mike D and former Eagle Blanc. So who knows? But I think it was a Lucha blog saying, yeah, maybe they just need more names for AAA.
well, I suppose so. They might be cheaper than they probably. Yeah,
We'll
the only
see.
thing I don't know. It's. I think they throw these trials out. They've done well. They did 2 last year. They signed Zazaya, Mike D, Igler Blanc, and Rain Leverkusen.
The
So
current Lizzie Rain, I think she's been rebadged as
so
now.
that of that, 4 have come over. Okay, there'll be people they obviously really like, but there's people who are being invited, so I think they can probably go and wear a black polo shirt for the next Raw they do in Liverpool. That's what it'll
Yeah.
be. So they can be a
I mean,
security guard.
I saw someone mention this, and this is maybe a bit conspiracy theory. You get these guys post on their social media, I've got a WWE tryout. And if at any point down the line, AEW offers a contract, you've got the usual suspects, the usual nut jobs on social media go, ha, WWE said no to you, so you're going there. I know it's a very conspiracy
Uh,
theory coded thing, but and again, you get some people probably
I
delete it,
don't
but
know.
at the same point, it's very much the way some people on social media behave. Especially when you see someone who signs like, "Oh, you were a security guard for this one episode of Raw." Oh, they must have said no. That's why I signed here. You get some people like that, but hey, we've been down this path before,
Yeah.
mate. It's the whole thing of, we've had a lot of guys on trials and not very many sign. I don't think this is NXT Europe spinning up like that was 4 years ago and it never materialized. But at the same point, I do kind of hope that this is going to be an experience for a lot of folk. If it does turn out into contracts, I hope there are a lot of experienced heads which kind of maybe shake some sense to folks, because you think the big knock on WWE, and well, there's plenty of knocks on
Well,
WWE, but
it killed Metahan effectively.
yeah,
Killed like 6 years later. He's not got where he's respected and performing in the way that he was 2 years, in 2019.
yeah.
So I think they need they need to, but equally, I'm sure there's it's all well and good, but I'm getting excited for any of these
Yeah,
people.
I
I have
think
no
a lot
interest
of
in
it.
it.
I think a lot of it is if you get these guys who are really young, they'll have had limited matches. Even if they've done the holiday camps or whatever circuits over here. When you go to WWE, they don't do house shows. Like they'll do the odd NXT loop, but beyond that,
They don't do house
like
shows anymore, do they?
yeah, you look at a cage match, like you look at Mike D, and I'm sorry, I'm going to call Mike D, not Dorian Van Duck, but you look at Mike D's cage match, and you can see where he signed because the number of matches goes to the floor, and that's the same for everyone because you're not on NXT TV every week. They don't do was it Level Up anymore, so it's Evolve, which is just like block tapings. So it's a whole thing of you sign and you are very early in your development. That's probably going to stunt it. As much as hip
Yeah.
toss class or whatever they do might be okay. Maybe the odd AAA taping, or whatever. But that's the kind of thing where you kind of need to be smart. Yes, it's a dream of yours, but at the same point,
Yeah,
if
the
you
ones who are
sign
actually
way too early
thriving are the
on,
ones. Yeah, say the ones who are thriving are the ones who can work AAA, because AAA they'll get 4 or 5 shows out of a
yeah,
sort of a swing. Um, and for all of the comedy that the whole AAA purchase is, like it's uh the bits I've seen have genuinely been okay. This is kind of what WWE probably could be if it was good.
yeah.
It's not necessarily great, but it's more interesting. It's more interesting than anything else. I've never been a fan of AAA really in general, but it is more interesting than sort of anything else that has been done. But the
I
the
think
ones
maybe
who are working out there are the ones who seem to be doing better.
I think that's maybe a connection of or a combination of it's a 1 hour show and it's new. But I mean,
Yeah,
say what they come like this may be another false alarm, but at the same point, understandably, folks who lived through 10 years ago, a little bit gun shy about. Yeah, that's a long list, and if they want to, they've got the money. Maybe not, if no Saudi Arabia, no wine for necking, but we'll see. But just wrapping up news wise, next couple of festivals, Protestant Grand Prix. I think the only thing just need to be careful is front row for the actual Protestant Grand Prix itself. They're gone. Plenty of tickets for Inner Circle, plenty of tickets for the rest of that weekend. Carrot, you're down to the last two VIP balcony passes. If you want festival, you're going to be standing pretty much tournament shows. Rows 1, 2, and 3 are gone. But yes, as usual, I think, especially with what's going on with the world, if you're looking to go, plan ahead. Keep an eye on flights and hotels. I know for Driver Champions, I had a look. The cost of a flight just from Heathrow to Dusseldorf for that one show in June cost me more than my flights for Carrot and Puss and Grand Prix combined.
There you go.
It's like, I know Tassel Young, no, that's not me going saying I looked for price, but like, I know Tassel Young did a blog, I think it's last weekend, basically saying like the cost of flights in the summer absolutely shoot up, and obviously what's going on ain't helping, but was it Wrestling Cult? They were doing their King of Cult weekend start of May. That's being
Yeah, they had to
cancelled.
cancel that.
Sirius as well. Alpha Females promotion. They've cancelled a show. I think you're going to be seeing a lot more like this, especially from the small promotions as well. At least while without getting too political, whatever Orange Man's doing is still. Is it on? Is it off? Like, is he pictured himself as Jesus? Do you think he's a doctor, or is he told a doctored photo? Whatever ramblings is going on, but yeah, certainly you're probably going to see not just from us traveling to shows, but wrestlers traveling to them as well. You're probably going to see at some point a bit of a downturn in imports as well. So enjoy this while it lasts, especially while things are uncertain. But as far as what has been announced coming up, of course, remember WXW still does the if it's live, it's a shotgun being taped. If it's not live, some of these may make tape. Next shows are next weekend, April 25th, the Alta Kesselschmiede in Papenburg. Sadly, not streaming live, so we'll see what they get. Jane Nero against Ava Everett, Ricky Sosa against Dennis Dolnick, and Peter Tahani against Bobby Guns has been announced so far. Then the next night on April 26th at the Kulturwerkstatt in Paderborn, Peter Tahani against Ricky Sosa, LSG against Tita Schwartz, and Jane Nero and 10 out of 10 next level against Ava Everett and CSI has been announced to that. So I have a weird feeling we're probably going to get into Jane Nero matches from both nights, maybe making tape. Probably one of the Sosa matches, and we'll see what else. But it definitely be. I don't believe these kind of matches will drop out straight away. Certainly with the way the weekly Thursday drop score, but we will see. But then after that, we have got May 9th, the Event Hall Airport in Obertraubling. I don't think they've announced any matches for that. No, we've just got the generic roster graphic then. Week later, True Colours in Hamburg on the 16th of May. We had virtual full card announced on Shotgun today, so we've got Ahura and Nicholas Block against CSI, Nick Schreier and Lee Bloom against Zoltan and Lawrence Roman, Dennis Nolnik going for the Shotgun title against Axel Tischer, Los Compadres challenging Planet Kojima for world tag titles, Jane Nero against Iona Strong, Katsuma Shima against Bobby Guns, and you'd expect either main event or first half main, Peter Tahani against Yota Tsuji. That is a heck of a lineup for Hamburg if there ever has been one.
Yeah, that's a really good card. I think quite excited about quite a few of those matches.
Then May 30th, the Lacazette, Haller and Mendig, that's another Wheel of Wrestling Live. And June 6th, that stacked lineup at the Drive of Champions in Turbine Hall in Oberhausen. We've got, of course, Jun Akiyama and Ahura against Cowboy Way, Kanji against returning Orshi, and Jane Neo against Danny Luna. And that's, I guess, first half of the card. But yeah, that's certainly the named shows. They're certainly not holding back this year, Mike.
Yeah, it's good. There's they're the right, and like you do kind of have a little bit of hope that somebody who turns up on Driver Champions might go, and I'll be back in September. You kind of, I look at Akiyama and Kingston in particular, like one of those two, or even both, would be lovely.
Both of them the same block in König de Katra,
Yeah,
my God.
you want that. Yeah, that's the sort of thing you do want. So
But
yes, there's a really well sort of packed out cards, I think.
and certain names they've got, you would kind of be hoping, praying to whichever being you believe in that one of those be coming back. But Mike, you've been busy celebrating this past weekend. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and everything as at Mike Kilby. That's on literally everything. So
Probably find stuff from Wembley this past weekend. Congratulations to that.
Mhm.
You can
Yep.
find me, of course, at Ian Wrestling on pretty much everything. I'll be using it again. Again, if you listen to us for the first time, about a month ago, we had that 2 hour episode reviewing Carrot. All the old episodes, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Podcast Addict, on YouTube as well. Look for Out Fresse if you're somehow finding us other than an existing subscription. And if you aren't, hit subscribe. We'll be back in a few weeks for I guess, whatever they drop from Papenburg, Paderborn, and I guess the True Colour stuff. But thanks for listening, guys. We'll be back in a few weeks' time. Cheers.
Cheers.